Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff.
All right, it's that time again for Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We are here to talk all things baseball. This week on Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, we got holograms. We're talking about the Field of Dreams and Ringworm. We don't have it, but someone else may.
You sure you don't have it?
I know I don't have it. I did not get a bad haircut. Let's jump in to the shocker of the baseball world.
That Frank Thomas is a part owner of the Field of Dreams complex?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about. I had no idea that he was a part owner of that. I was totally shocked.
Didn't know that either until the day of the Field of Dreams game. But what should have been the biggest thing of the week wasn't, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Everyone, I think, in the baseball world, especially Padres fans, have been waiting with bated breath for Fernando Tatis Jr. to return. He broke his wrist. He's been on a rehab assignment. It was getting closer. It was going to be Soto, Bell, Machado, Tatis, and that's not going to happen.
No, now it's Soto, Bell, Machado, and Grisham, Profar. And whoever it is that's filling in at shortstop.
Yeah. So Fernando Tatis Jr. has been suspended for 80 days because of a PED violation.
80 games, right?
He's going around the baseball field in 80 days. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been suspended 80 games. It's going to last through the remaining regular season games and then into 2023. And that depends, the 2023 games, that depends on how, the Padres get into the postseason. And if they get there, then, he's not going to be able to play in the postseason. And he also was supposed to play for the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic, which is next year, and he is not going to be eligible to represent the Dominican Republic in those games.
He doesn't really seem to think about this stuff before he does it. It seems that, he's riding a motorcycle and popping wheelies and doing stuff like that. And he just, I get it. You're young. You want to go out and do stuff. But when you're being paid that much money to do something, your employer is going to ask that you don't do things like that.
Right. Yeah. Bob Melvin came out and said at the beginning of the season, he's not riding motorcycles anymore. And when he was asked about the injury to his wrist, his, fractured wrist, he said, which accident? So he's been in obviously multiple accidents. I guess in the Dominican Republic, it's not uncommon, from what I understand, for people to be in motorcycle accidents or car accidents. But those were things he wasn't supposed to be doing. And he fractured his wrist. And
how many players from the Dominican Republic do we have in the league?
I think a lot.
And how many of them are going through these issues that he's going through?
Yeah, none that I know of. He's the only one. So, yeah, we can't blame it on the Dominican Republic.
No.
It's all your fault. He's 23. He has a huge contract. And, he's out of his first 4 seasons. He's played in only 273 of the possible 546 regular season games. He missed the final 7 weeks of the 2019 season because he had a stress reaction in the lower back. And then he spent all of 2021 dealing with that left shoulder and people that, doctors told him, hey, you need to get surgery. This is the only way to fix this. It's the same thing like that Cody Bellinger had where his shoulder would dislocate. And Cody Bellinger eventually, had to get surgery, but he wouldn't get surgery. So he was dealing with that. And then, of course, he's missed the entire season this season because of the fractured wrist, but now because of this violation.
Okay. Just when they think the Padres think they've made all the moves, they went and got Josh Hader, they got Juan Soto, and I did read somewhere somebody do you think they knew this was coming? That's why they went and pushed to get Juan Soto, because Juan Soto kind of replaces that bat that they didn't have in Tatis. I mean, I know they wanted Tatis back because they wanted to have all those bats, but without it, at least with Juan Soto, it's not like trying to moneyball it and let me get 3 players to replace 1 player.
Right. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if they knew because AJ Preller, they were in Washington, in DC playing the Nationals, and it was like 30 minutes before game time when AJ Preller called a team meeting. And so some of the guys were like, oh, somebody died. They thought somebody had, and then they find out that he's been suspended. And there was a lot of reaction from the clubhouse. Mike Clevenger was one that, said, this is like the second time this has happened. And he just needs, some of the guys like he needs to grow up. He needs to be a team player.
Well, Manny Machado was one to say at first, well, too bad, he's one of us and we support him or whatever. But then he also said the same thing. We've been doing it without him.
Yeah. So
not like we need him. Right now they're on a track to the playoffs as a wild card. And they've done it all without Tatis Jr. I think this is going to be another one of those things that starts getting debated. You had long-term contracts, and now it's going to be to young players. Now, seemingly Juan Soto, who's about the same age, doesn't have the same issues.
Yeah. Well, he just seems, when you look at Juan Soto and you look at Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, they're the same age, but he seems to have so much more maturity than Tatis does. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe it's, the way he was raised or different work ethic, different different mindset. I mean, Tatis is going to lose probably, and for him, he's probably like, who cares? $3 million in salary with the suspension. He said he inadvertently took a medication to treat ringworm. And then his dad came out and said, oh, he got a bad haircut. And there was something, I don't know, on the scissors, the disinfectant. I'm not really sure, but somehow he got a fungus on his head. That seems very unlikely. AJ Preller has said, that's his story.
And he's sticking to it.
Yeah. He also said that they're going to look further into his off-season wrist injury, that maybe there's a more to it than, I just had a motorcycle accident. I'm going to start digging into the shoulder and the wrist, because he says that they are at a point where they need to trust each other, and I don't think the Padres trust Tatis.
No, and that's their fault for not being more on top of him from the beginning. That they should have with the shoulder. They should have been on it. Look, you need to get the surgery. You don't want to get the surgery. All right, fine. But, they should have been on top of that. And obviously they can't be on him all the time. The wrist injury, if he was riding a motorcycle and that happened, is that what happened? The thing with this ringworm story, or the ringworm was one thing. I don't know what all. I've never had ringworm. I don't know what it takes to treat ringworm. But it's easy to find out. We just Google it and it'll say here's some common treatments for it. And I'm sure none of them include any kind of steroidal cream that I'm, or maybe if they do, it's not because of the steroids. I'm thinking.
Yeah. And the interesting part about this steroid that he tested positive for is it can make, like, if you have a fracture, it can make the length of time for it to heal, it can make it longer.
Oh,
so
really?
It makes total sense. How long has he been taking this? Because his wrist he fractured his wrist in the off season. Then he said, oh, he didn't know. He thought it was just sprained. And then he went to spring training and he said, no, it was really broken. All of it seems fishy to me. And if he's taking this steroid that causes, where if you had a fracture, it's not going to heal as fast, then it makes total sense. That must be part of the problem.
Well, he didn't they say he tested positive for this like in March?
Oh, maybe.
So if he did that, then he was taking that stuff long before, and so he had ringworm that long ago that he started taking it. And I don't know. I hate these stories. At least like Mark McGuire, people are interviewing him. He's got a bottle of androstenedione right up in his locker. It wasn't illegal at the time. And he, said, well, it helps with recovery. It wasn't an illegal substance at the time. But he didn't come up with a story like, well, it's for incontinence and I can't be standing at first base and all of a sudden, gotta go, in the middle of an inning. He didn't come up with any kind of a weird story about it. But these guys come up, I inadvertently, or I didn't know, the trainer gave me this, I just did it, which that probably is the best one, because how many guys do? The trainer said, here, rub that on your elbow or rub this wherever. And the players do it because they trust the trainer. Apparently, Fernando is trusting his barber.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems so. It was a shock when, like, what he was in a rehab assignment in San Antonio, and then the next thing you know, he's suspended for 80 games. But then at the same time, it just seems to kind of fall into his narrative of how his baseball career is going, where, like I said, he's been out. He could have played 564 games and he's only played 273 games over his 4-year career.
It feels like he's played more, but I think it's just he's had some big moments, and because we've made such a big deal about him, but he really hasn't played, at least like with Cody. Cody's been having a tough time since he was the MVP, but he's been playing, been struggling through, but he's playing. We're not finding that he's got all these other issues going on.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, you look at, Cody Bellinger and Max Muncy, and they both have struggled, but they're still playing, and there's some upside, which we will talk about later during the Dodgers.
Max isn't taking anything inadvertently or because of bad haircuts or anything. for that elbow.
No.
So, no, well.
I mean, at least he didn't say, "Oh, it must have been in the blizzard that I
That was
ate."
it. There was something in the blizzard that caused me to get ringworm that I had to take steroids for.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you this. When he finally, any field that they can get Tatis Jr. playing on will be the field of dreams for the Padres.
So true. Yes. Now, there have been calls, and I wanted to ask your opinion about this. There have been a lot of people, and I think probably mostly Padres fans, that have said they need to void his contract. He's broke his wrist. He wasn't supposed to be on a motorcycle because supposedly, from what Bob Melvin said earlier in the season, those type of things are in his contract. He's not going to take, as you had said before, you're not going to take risk that could, where you would injure yourself and not be able to play. And then, of course, now with the steroids, they're not going to void his contract. But
no, because they don't want anybody else to get him. Because what if he finally figures out, he grows up or does whatever, and he shows up at, and then he ends up on another team, and the Giants pick him up, or the Diamondbacks or the Dodgers, But I think that somebody would definitely take a chance on him at this point. I don't think you can void it. He's still at this point, until he shows that he's not able to deal at this level and be responsible and professional, then they're going to hold on to him until they just have to completely write him off. They're losing money on it anyway, and they're going to lose money on it. Nobody's going to take him in trade. And if you void his contract, then you'll get nothing for him.
Yeah.
So
that I knew that wasn't going to happen, but it's fun to think about, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
As people are like, void his contract. We don't need him.
Yeah, it's as long as there's still a huge potential upside, which there is. It's he's got to change his mental part of his game there, away from the field. When he's on the field, he's fine. He seems to be, on it, but it's this, you're going to probably have to hire somebody to be with him, because he needs his own little Jiminy Cricket to be there on his shoulder, telling him what to, no, don't do that. Of course, that didn't work out for Pinocchio either, though, did it?
No, it didn't.
But eventually, it kind of did. And so Fernando Tatis could eventually become a real boy.
Oh man. He could. He really could. And I think that's what the Padres are hoping for.
For sure. All right. So they want him to grow up. Could you imagine? I thought about this the other day as I was watching fathers and sons and family members out on the Field of Dreams playing catch with one another. I thought, what does King Griffey Jr. Sr. think? Not as a dad, because as a dad, he's got to be really proud. But as a major league player, and a fairly successful one, playing catch with your son, a Hall of Famer. How does he feel about that? Does he think he wasn't better than me? Okay, sorry, senior, he was, but they were out there playing. Does he feel intimidated being around his son, the Hall of Famer?
I don't think so. I've seen interviews with both of them, and he keeps Junior in check. And
that's probably why Junior is a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
Not out riding motorcycles and breaking his wrist and taking steroids. Only wearing his hat backwards.
That's it, but that's okay.
That was worth it. Well, they were out there on the Field of Dreams playing some catch along with a few others. And my favorite part of it was when the players all came in from the corn.
The players of the corn.
Right. So what
Yeah,
did you think?
That, first, it's always a cool game. I like how they wear the replica jerseys or uniforms. They both looked good. I liked that they had Fergie Jenkins throw out the first pitch to Johnny Bench. So a Cub throwing the first pitch to a Red. So that was cool. They brought in, those legends. And I even thought that the Harry Carey hologram, the seventh inning stretch, it was kind of weird, but it wasn't as creepy as I thought it might be, because I thought it might be kind of creepy. But my biggest issue with the Field of Dreams is I couldn't watch it. I was doing some other things, and I have MLB TV app, and it was blacked out, and I could only listen to the audio. And Manfred wants to grow the game. One way to grow the game is to stop, especially on events like this, making blackouts for these games.
Yeah, I wonder if the part of the problem is that it was on Big Fox, not like Fox Sports. And if they say, well, whenever we have a game like ESPN's game of the week, the Sunday night game is blacked out from that too. There's only one way to watch it.
Yeah.
Is through ESPN or through Fox. Now, if you get their apps, you can probably watch those things off of their apps. But I think that the old agreements tell them, hey, if it's this is what has to happen. And you're right. If you're not at home, but you're trying to watch it, when it came on, I wanted to watch it, and I went to MLB and it said, "Oh, this is blacked out." I was off doing something as well, and so I just checked on my. I have Spectrum for TV. I checked on the Spectrum app, and the Fox came through. Normally, there's a lot of channels you can't watch when you're away from home. This was one that I could, so I was able to watch it off of the Spectrum app on the local Fox channel. But yeah, it takes away, especially just that setting is fun to watch it in. The game itself was it was more fun last year to watch, and they even talked about it. I think John Smoltz mentioned it, and some other players just said there was a lot different to hit a home run there and it not go into a crowd but disappear into the corn, and that gave it a whole different feel. Well, there were no home runs in this game.
Right.
The Cubs came out early, scored 3 runs, added on another, and that was all they'd really need. We're not talking about 2 great teams, but they played decent baseball. Probably the biggest thing that happened was Jonathan India got hit in the shin side of the leg by Drew Smiley early in the game, like first inning. And even John Smoltz was talking about it, going, "Oh, that's gonna hurt. He's probably gonna. It'll be okay now, but it's gonna tighten up as the game goes." And I'd be surprised if he finishes it. And by the 4th inning, he was out of the game. Had a knot on the side of his leg, the side of his baseball, it said. So he got to do 2 things. He was upset that he had to leave the game because he's like, this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, getting to play, here in this surrounding. But he also got to take a helicopter ride after the game, which he'd never done before either.
Yeah, to a hospital.
Right. And he'd never been to a hospital in Iowa.
So he was just checking off things left and right
on his bucket list is almost completed.
Yeah, he had compartment syndrome. And when he got to the hospital, he was thinking, oh, it'll just be Like what John Smoltz said. Oh, it'll be sore, probably tighten up. But actually, what happens is there's pressure within a compartment increases, so in his leg, restricting the blood flow to the area, and it potentially damages the muscles and the nearby nerves. So when he got to the hospital, the doctor said, "You're lucky that you got here and that they airlifted you out because you could have lost your calf muscle." Yeah.
Yeah. So that was big time for Jonathan India. Turns out that he was okay overall, just a little bone bruise. He didn't play the next game. Had to drive like 9 hours from Iowa to Cincinnati, and didn't play the Saturday game of the set, but ended up playing Sunday. I didn't see the Harry Carey thing, and I still haven't. I haven't gone to look for it because I'm sure, like you told me, well, it's probably on there somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I don't know. They just, it was just him. It was early, younger Harry Carey doing the 7th inning stretch. I wish it would have been later when he was a little
with a can of Bud.
Yeah, they needed that.
When he sounded as he was getting a little older and he had a little bit of that slur sometimes.
Yeah, just a little, and that would have been true Harry Carey. That's that's what
Cub fans.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I mean, I loved watching. When the Dodgers came and they were playing the Cubs, watch it on WGN and listen to Harry Carey. The other thing that was really nice too is they did have, and Vince Scully had done this a while ago, but he, recites the famous scene from the Field of Dreams, and they played that. So I thought that was a nice tribute.
People will come, Ray.
That's right. Yeah. Now, next year they won't come because there will not be a Field of Dreams game in 2023 because they are going to be building or putting in more fields, baseball fields and softball fields.
So the question is how long before that area has got a casino? And, I don't know if they've got that in Iowa or not, but how long before there's a couple of hotels, they build an airstrip nearby there? Because even now you have to fly. I think the closest one I heard was like Dubuque. It's like 40 minutes away. So, how long before it gets? That's the one thing you can't put too much in there and around it, because then it starts to take away from what makes it so cool.
Right. Yeah, because then it just becomes kind of like a back lot. I did see where in Iowa, I don't know, he's a state senator that used this opportunity to call out MLB and blackouts for Iowa.
Well, I think he should have said something about it, because I was thinking about what we talked about last week. Could you imagine what it's going to be like if they put a team in London or Paris or wherever, and Iowa's still going to be blacked out from all of that too?
Exactly. Yeah. So this guy, his name's J.D. Scholten, and he's running for Iowa State Legislature. But he is like, this has got to stop. He wants fans in Iowa to be able to watch the Twins, the Royals, the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Cubs, which they can't see any of those. It's like MLB hates Iowa.
Yes. Well, they're trying to make it up to him. Here, we'll let you have this game that you can't afford to buy tickets to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So he's working on that, and
yeah, that never seems to work.
No, but maybe he can get, something Yeah, the Senate is, Congress is always after MLB with antitrust exemptions and things like that. So maybe there could be an overhaul of everything, blackouts included.
Yeah, they definitely need to do something about that. Speaking of blackouts, apparently you had to suffer through a blackout in a Dodger series. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I did. One game.
We should talk about that next.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
The Dodgers have been on a roll. They welcomed in the Twins for 2 games and provided some fun games there. No blackouts in that one.
This was a short week, though.
It was.
There was only really 4 games.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I can only think of 4 games, and I didn't have blackouts. You had blackouts, so it was only 3 games then, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, are you thinking that the 2-game series was really just one big game?
No, I was thinking that they only played 2 versus the Twins and 2 versus Kansas City.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So what happened? With
the blackout?
Yeah, what happened with the blackout?
So on Saturday's game, they were celebrating Jackie Robinson and breaking the color barrier, and they also highlighting all of the work that the Negro Baseball League Museum does to bring the attention to all of those teams and those great players. And so the Dodgers were wearing 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers replica uniforms, and the which Jackie Robinson wore. And then the Royals were the Kansas City Monarchs, wearing the 1945 uniforms that Jackie Robinson also wore.
All right. So when I first saw it, I thought the Dodgers were wearing throwbacks as well. But the only difference really is that they were wearing the Brooklyn hats and there were no names on the back of their jerseys. And otherwise, these away jerseys they were wearing look like what they wear now, except now they have names on the back and they wear LA on their hats.
Yeah, and that's why the Dodgers have classic uniforms. There's not a lot of variation from, other than, of course, the City Connect jersey, but you always know it's a constant. They don't change. They don't have, different, pitcher, you get to pick the uniform for the day like they do in Colorado or Arizona.
Right.
They have a wardrobe full of different uniforms.
Right.
Yeah. So this game, I wasn't home. I thought I want to watch it, see what, of course it's the Dodgers. It was blacked out. Could not watch it. Did listen to it on the radio, but could not see the uniforms until after the game. So I was kind of disappointed about that too. And I don't remember it being televised in a national, like Big Fox or ESPN, because they were showing Red Sox Yankees game.
See, I thought that that's what it was when you said it was blacked out. I was like, wait, and I checked, and I'm like, no, I'm watching it on Sportsnet, and if it's on Sportsnet, it means it's not on the national.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's weird. Why would it be blocked out? Kansas City's not, unless you're in Kansas City's market now.
Maybe, or I was in Iowa, and I didn't realize.
You didn't realize you had gone to Iowa.
Yeah, I didn't know. But yeah, so that was my blackout story there. And a crazy, blackout, blowout for the Brooklyn Dodgers. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about Minnesota and the Dodgers. Julio Urias pitched that first game. Now it has a 12-6 record. Dodgers come in, win 10-3, and Oprah Winfrey again was in the house because there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doubles and a home run.
Jumbo jacks.
And Jumbo Jacks. Haven't seen Jumbo Jacks in a while.
Yeah, Byron
That's
Buxton
exciting.
for the Twins grabbed a home run, went 2 for 4. Gio Urshela with a triple, but that was about all that they could muster.
That's it. And the Dodgers win that game 10-3. And then we move into the next day, and Ryan Pepio is on the mound. He comes in to take Clayton Kershaw's spot, and he goes 4 1/3 innings, gives up 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 home runs. So not
Jorge Polanco and Gary Sanchez.
Yeah. So, we've seen shades where he could be really great. This game, he was not so great. But how often has he pitched? And this is what, his 4th start?
Yeah,
maybe?
he hasn't
3rd?
had very many.
Yeah. So, but the bullpen has come in. It looked really good. Alex Vesia, David Price again, who I think a lot of people just kind of forget about. But he has looked really good. Evan Phillips, of course, Chris Martin, and then, Kimbrel comes in, Craig Kimbrel, and he, always likes to help out the other team, and he gave up a run, but the Dodgers end up winning that game 8-5. And again, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles, 1, 2, 3 home runs. I mean, the electric company.
One of those home runs was from Max.
Yeah, Max, and a pinch hit home run by Joey Gallo.
Yes.
So after this game, this was their 10th consecutive win. They've outscored their opponents 70-25. And after this game, they had completed 3 consecutive sweeps. They swept San Francisco, San Diego, and Minnesota in this 2-game set. And then they headed to Kansas City.
Kansas City, here I come.
And Tony Gonsolin is on the mound. He looks good. 6 2/3 innings, gives up 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So he's getting back, but he's looked a lot better because in July he was looking shaky.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to be able to hold on, recover, or if it was like, okay, I've done the best I can over this time frame. Now I'm pitched out.
Yeah. I'm all pitched out. Yeah. And then again, it was David Price came in, and then Reyes Maranta gives up a home run. That's his MO. And then Phil Bickford comes in and gives up a hit, but strikes out 2 and ends the game. Tony Gonsolin gets his 14th win of the season, and the Dodgers win that game 8-3. Trey Turner was 2 for 5 in that game with 2 RBIs. Freddie Freeman was 1 for 4, and Trace Thompson 3 for 4 with a double and a home run and 3 RBIs.
A 3-run home run at that.
Exactly.
And at the beginning of the game on the pregame show, Dontrell Willis, they do a little thing. Hey, who's got it? I don't remember what they called the feature, but who's going to go off today? And Dontrell Willis says Trace is going to be like Big Brother Clay, and he's going to go for 3. And he hit a 3-run homer and was 3 for 4 on the day. So Dontrell knew something was going on.
Yeah, he had some
Give me some
insight.
lottery numbers, Dontrell, because I'm.
And in this game, Tony Gonsolin, he had a no-hitter and a perfect game going, but that was broken up in the 7th. Through 85 pitches, 56 of those were for strikes. So like I said, he's looking a lot better than all-star Tony. We want him to get back to being Catman Tony, and that's it. And then in the blackout game, I don't know what happened because I was blacked out.
Andrew Haney was on the mound, and he didn't last long, but not because he was pitching badly, but because he took a shot off of the arm and needed to come out of the game.
Yeah, it was more of a precaution. He said he probably could have stayed in, but with his injuries that he's had, they don't want to do anything that could possibly make things worse.
Yeah, no, let's take it easy. You don't need to you don't need to push him now. We're not in the playoffs yet. We're not in a position where we're going to lose a playoff spot. If you don't keep him going and push through. So, they're in a good position right now. On a win streak. This game was, by the time he came out, he'd already been spotted a decent lead.
Yeah. Well, and our favorite, Hanser Alberto, came in to pitch. He now has a 2.25 ERA. He closed the game. The best part of him pitching was on the scoreboard. It will say, how fast the pitch was and then what type of pitch. He had a pitch that was 63 miles per hour and it was unknown.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of pitch that is.
But it doesn't matter because he got him out and they won the game. But in this game, Mookie Betts had a home run. Will Smith had a home run. Max Muncy had a home run. Gavin Lux had a home run. And Joey Gallo and Cody Bellinger had back-to-back home runs. And
those were off of one of their position players.
Yeah.
That they brought in because it was out of hand by then. You figure their 2 home runs took it to 13.
Well, and the home run, I think that Muncy went into the fountain. So
yes,
go get it out of the fountain.
I think Lux hit his into the fountains as well, but it's not as much fun when whatever it is, if it's water, Max will tell you to go get it out of it.
That's right. This was the Dodgers' 12th straight win. They're only one shy of tying a franchise record since moving to LA. And this has been their longest win streak since 1976, the bicentennial. Wow. Yeah. And that brings us into the game that shall be forgotten.
They had Sunday off, right?
They did. It was too hot. They'd eaten too much barbecue. They said, let's forget this game.
They did visit the NLBM while they were there. And a lot of the players were like, wow, I had no idea about this or that. Or I know Yancy Almonte got a couple of pictures of him and the Satchel Paige statue. And
one of the things, Kristen Watson, who is the on-field reporter for Sportsnet, she was there, and her great grandfather played in the Cuban leagues, and she was able to see a picture of him and some information about him. So that was pretty cool for her. Some family history.
So the Dodgers play nice and let the Royals have a win, so they don't sweep through the AL Central. This time they do drop it 4-0. Tyler Anderson on the mound went 6. Gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, struck out 4. Mookie and CT3, both with 2 hits, are both with a hit. Not 2 hits, 2 hits total.
2 hits total. And what's really odd is Trey and Freddie 0 for 4. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. This is the game that should have been blacked out.
Yep. I think that I wonder for Trey, because Trey left the night before with, it was really hot in Kansas City. It was like 97 at game time, and they were playing, early evening, and it was 97, and he just seemed to be like hot, and he ended up leaving the game early. So I think he was just not feeling well, and maybe that things just didn't. He was in the game the next day, but he didn't do very well. At the plate, anyway.
Yeah.
Got to see Bobby Witt Jr., who in the blowout game had a couple of hits. Michael Massey, another one. I mean, all the guys. Salvador Perez had a home run during the series. Him and Bobby Witt Jr. about all that's left of what you would think when you hear the team, because when you look at it, there's no Benintendi, there's no Merrifield.
These guys, they're all gone.
They've all gone places that they need to get.
Well, I think you have
vaccine
to
for.
give. I think you also have to give credit to the Royals pitcher that was on the mound. What's his name? Brady.
Brady Singer.
Yeah, Brady Singer pitched 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, no runs, walked 3, but Dodgers couldn't do anything with that, and he struck out 7. So good relationship between him and Perez as they were blanking the Dodgers. So the Dodgers coming up are heading to Milwaukee and then Miami. And then they'll come home to face Milwaukee.
And then Miami.
And Miami. That's right. All right. So player of the week.
I went guy that you kind of undersold him in that game 2 of the series because you were blacked out apparently.
Yeah.
But Max Muncy is threatening to get above 200.
Woo.
He is batting 188 as of the weekend, but over the week, batting 438, 7 hits, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, walked 4 times, and a 1.675 OPS. That's what makes Max Muncy, the re-emergence of Max Muncy, my player of the week.
All right. Love to see it. Love seeing Max back. So I normally don't do this, but I went with 2 players, and mainly because they kind of platoon now. That's Trace Thompson, who was had 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, had that home run, was 500 in the games that he played. And then, so Trace Thompson and Joey Gallo, who had 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and was batting 400. So when you had either Joey in or Trace in, they were going to be on base, or they were going to be somewhere. So
well,
that's
and
why I went with both of
wonder
those
if
guys.
we finally got to the bottom of what was happening, because when they talked to Joey, he was like, well, I'm happy I don't have to shave. Things are much more relaxed here than they were in the New York clubhouse. And it seems to be, I mean, he's not like he's playing every day, but it seems to be that, he's thriving so far.
Yeah, the only thing, if he wants to have a beard, that's great. But what's up with that hair? He really needs to get a haircut.
No.
Well, no, not now, but
No. Well, at least don't go to Fernando.
Don't go to his barber.
Whatever you do. You know what? Just go to Supercuts or Sports
Well, he doesn't need to go
Clips
anywhere.
Any of those things.
Yeah. If the hair's working for him, it just keep your hat on.
He is aspiring to be a Gurriel.
That's every time I see it, that's who I always think of. Still waiting to hear from the A's about our promotional idea and the red Solo cups.
I was thinking about this the other day. I made a rare trip to Walmart.
Ah.
Now, I know for some people that's like a daily occurrence. I know where you're at, that's the closest big thing. I have a lot of different options around where I'm at, but I was in there and I saw that they had their own, red cups styled after red Solo cups, but the Walmart, whatever, everyday brand or whatever they call it. And I was thinking that if the Solo cups were too much for the A's, these Walmart branded cups could fill in a pinch and be, at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. And that might be a better option for them.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But we're still waiting. We're here.
For sure.
If you want to get a hold of us. But I also know that Phil Nevin's dream board was crumbling while they were at the Coliseum.
Yeah, because they weren't striking out or hitting into double plays like he has on his dream board. The Angels were doing something they've only done once this season. Way back against the Guardians of Cleveland. They swept a series. Only the second sweep they've had this season. At the Coliseum versus the A's. They took, I don't even know what to make of that. Now, one of them they did have to go into innings for.
But they are a lot better in inning games than their neighbor up the 5.
Yeah, but I think it's starting to even out a little bit just because
Maybe.
the Angels just lose so much. Yeah, the game 1 was real low scoring affair, 1-0. They had Jose Suarez on the mound, started everything out went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits and 8 Ks. Loop and Tepera didn't give up any hits in that win. Of course, Fletch and Rengifo, the 2 guys lately who have been doing it, once again, taking care of Rengifo with a home run. Game 2 saw Shohei back on the mound for 6. 4 hits, no runs, struck out 5.
Only 5.
Only.
What's that about?
Well, you know why? Because he was making up for it on the other side of the plate. He was 2 for 3 with 2 runs and RBI and a home run.
Yeah.
He hits home runs fairly regularly. He's got about 26 on the season, I think it is. But as of Sunday anyway, he doesn't typically hit home runs in games he pitches.
That's true. Yeah, that's right.
So, and then Taylor Ward, also with a home run, went for 3 RBIs. So Taylor Ward looking good. Jared Walsh has been one that I noticed. Not really seeing his name too much anymore. He's batting in the low 200s. Last season he was up around 300.
Yeah, first game he was 0 for 3. This game is 0 for 5. 2 strikeouts. Strikeout in the game before. Yeah, just not. Something's off.
Yeah. Steven Duggar, who we picked up back in early August, claimed off of waivers from Texas, has a triple in that game, and they go on to a 5-1 win, which brings us to the finale where the sweep is on the line. They've won the series, which is also a big thing because they hadn't been doing that a lot lately. But it took them innings to get the sweep. They went to the 12th. Luis Rengifo, again, a home run, 3 RBIs. Magneris Sierra, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs, a double, and 2 stolen bases. And then one of our favorite things to happen, Toussaint, through 5 innings, gave up 2 hits. But it was Jaime Barria who would blow the save and pick up the win.
Yeah, that's not right.
So the Angels scored 3 in the 6th, 1 in the 10th, and then 1 in the 12th to win this 5-4. The A's. The Angels scored in the 6th. The A's scored in the 7th, and then scored the 1 in the bottom of the 10th to push it on. Nobody scored in the 11th, and it was they were able to get out. Ramon Laureano had a good game, 3 for 4. Troy Kemp, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs that kept the A's in the game. But the Angels do walk away with that and do what every team should be doing to the A's, sweeping them. So the Angels head home to take on the Twins, who had just had a not a great showing up the 5 freeway. They come down, and they say, enough with this. We're a contending team. We shouldn't be getting beat. And so they took it to the Angels 4-0 in game 1. Boom. Patrick Sandoval on the mound. He went for 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, 4 Ks. And then Mike Myers was, he threw 4 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 runs, but struck out 5. And the duo, Martin and Lewis, Fletch and Rehifo, once again, both of them 2 for 4 in that game. But the Angels lose it 4-0. Gio Urshela with a home run. Alberto Celestino had a home run. And then recent acquisition Tyler Mahle from the Reds went for 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 6, but no runs, which led us to game 2, a Zinnings game again. And maybe you're right. Maybe the Angels are better at Zinnings.
I think they are.
Reed Detmer's on the hill, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs, struck out 9. Shohei hit number 26 in this game. But and I thought this was kind of interesting. Remember the name Emilio Pagan?
Yeah.
Padres
Right.
reliever.
Yes.
Always seemed to be the one to give up a game-winning home run to a Dodger or to anybody.
Right.
Emilio is now a Twin. And Emilio gave up the game-winning hit to Taylor Ward, who had a walk-off home run.
The best kind.
Yeah, those are good. So after 11 innings, they're able to take that out 5-3. Carlos Correa, 2 for 2 with a home run in that game, walked 3 times. Luis Arias, 3 for 4. This guy is like, it seems like they couldn't ever get him out. They did, but it was just like he just seems to be hitting everything. And they faced off with their old buddy Dylan Bundy, who started that game, went 5 innings, but didn't figure in the decision.
Well, I have to say that in this game, there was another narrative playing out, and that is that Carlos Correa is a pretty cool big brother. He flew his parents and his sister in from Puerto Rico to make her dreams come true, not at the Magic Kingdom, but at the Big A, because she is a huge Angels fan and loves Ohtani, and got to meet Shohei and was rooting for the Angels in her Angels jersey, which I thought was awesome. And
she's not even like wearing like Carlos's number on that. She's Ohtani'd out.
Yes. Dreams come true. She got to take a picture with Shohei. You know, he's like, I hit a home run. Carlos Correa's like, I hit a home run. But Ohtani hit a home run. She's not really a big fan of the Twins or her brother.
Well, maybe she's a little bigger fan now.
Yeah.
Because he introduced her to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. So both of his parents wore their, his jersey. But I think her name is Lib. I think she goes by Libby. She wore her Ohtani jersey.
They kept showing her in the stands, and she's all angeled out. They're like, Carlos Correa's sister is like, yeah, that's awesome. Well, and remember the picture when in the off season, she was wearing her Angels gear in their Christmas picture.
Right, which would made the rumors fly. Oh, maybe he's going to be an Angel, but really it's just his sister loves the Angels. And in fact, she started learning how to speak Japanese because she loves Shohei so much. And she got a chance to practice her language skills with him and speak to him in Japanese. And so I thought that was just really cool that, he's not our favorite, but he did that for his little sister. And made her happy. It made him happy. And the Twins lost the game and the Angels won. So she was super happy.
Well, you know what was fun in that Zinnies game as well. And I got it. We didn't talk about this in the Dodger segment, but maybe it's time to just let all this asterisk vitriol go. And Carlos Correa had his moments. There's only really one guy that really drives me up a wall when I see him, and that's Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
Because I think there was something else going on there from other things that are happening. Carlos Correa had his time where it was like, just shut up and play ball. But when I see him on the field, if I stop and don't think about who it is, I see him, there was one part Magneuris Sierra, trying to win the game, that tied it up, but trying to win it in the bottom of the ninth. And he almost had an in the park home run. But when the ball got in, Carlos Correa threw a strike to the catcher and got it there in time to get him out at home plate. Well, at the beginning of the 10th, who goes out to second base to be the ghost runner? But Sierra does. And Carlos is over, and they're kind of laughing and joking and that stuff. And he's giving him a little bit of a hard time, just, about, oh, you thought you had that kind of thing. But it was a fun little moment. And then seeing, too, that, what he had done for his sister, it was just, maybe just he doesn't play for the Asterix. The Asterix are not really the team, with the exception of Altuve and Gurriel. And Gurriel's biggest issue was doing the eye thing to Yu Darvish.
Right. Yeah.
And
I feel the same way. In the Dodgers, the 2 games that they played with the Dodgers, there were people chanting, cheater, and they booed him every time. There were some other things going on, children, flipping him off. It's like, that's not a good look for anybody, especially when looks like you're 12. But yeah, I think like you said, he doesn't play for the Astros anymore. And maybe for him, getting away from that environment was a good thing. And, but Altuve, yeah, he's just something slimy about him.
I agree.
I did hear something funny, though.
Yeah.
The Asterix are wanting to make a trade with the Padres for Tatis Jr. because he was trying to cheat.
Of course. All right, so we get to the final game. We wrap it all up, and the Angels, it's the rubber game, as they say. Who could go either way? Who's going to win the series? Tucker Davidson, who we had got our favorite, not that we have one, but if we had a favorite travel agent, we would insert travel agent ad here, and send them to. We were going to send Tucker Davidson back to Georgia.
That's right.
Because he's leaving on whatever time the train to Georgia leaves. I don't care if it's midnight. I don't care when it is. He just needs to be on it. Well, I still think that, but he had a better outing this time. Up against a guy who we thought was going to be at some point, a league great, and it's just not happened. Chris Archer.
Oh,
former
right.
Pirate and Ray. He on the mound for the Twins. He only goes 4 innings, gives up 4 hits, 3 runs, strikes out 5. Carlos Correa, 2 for 3. Oh, I forgot. Let's go back a game real quick. Byron Buxton.
Oh, yeah.
I think what was the play of the week for MLB comes out, looks like the ball's going to drop. He extends completely out, catches the ball, and then is up and able, due to a base running error by Shohei Ohtani, is able to double him up. And, that was in the 11th. They should have been able to score a run there. If Shohei had gotten back, there was a good chance that they would have probably ended the game right then. But Byron Buxton with a pretty incredible play. Once again, Fletch and Rengifo leading the way offensively. Shohei 1 for 2 with an RBI. Jared Walsh with a couple of hits. And Tucker Davidson threw 6, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, struck out 3. Berea and Quijada would shut down the Twins for a 4-2 victory.
So a good week for the Angels.
Really good week. Yeah, they I figured, they always have a good chance with Oakland because it's Oakland, and Oakland's just got, there's just not a great team, as we've talked about before, and it's no secret. The Twins, however, are in the middle of a race for the AL Central pennant and trying to find their way potentially as a wild card, if not grabbing, right now it looks like their best bet is to win the division. And on a couple of those games, like that Saturday night game, they knew the Guardians had lost and they could gain ground, and they just weren't able to get it done. And for a team that is, at the top of one of the top teams in their division, I expected more from them. But the Angels put it together. Good pitching outings. I've seen recently people hollering about, hey, fire Matt Wise, and the pitching coach. And I'm thinking, you know what? Overall, the pitching has not been bad across the board. Like every staff, there's issues. The Dodgers have been great, but they have times when their pitchers are off.
Yep.
Every team has that. The problem has been Jeremy Reed. If you want to fire somebody, Jeremy Reed's the guy, the hitting coach. He needs to go. Obviously, so we need interim coaching staff. Maybe Mike Gallegos is the only one, or as our buddy Austin Barnes, calls him Uncle Mike. He's about the only one I think that could probably stay. They need to. There's definitely got to be an overhaul on that coaching staff, regardless. And even Matt Wise can go if you can get somebody else. But right now, Matt Wise hasn't been as bad as people are saying.
Really good silver linings for the Angels. Again, Phil Nevin's vision board, his dream board, crumbling as we speak. Which
with every success,
it crumbles. A piece of it falls off. He hates it. But the Angels have coming up the Mariners at home for 3, and then they head out to Detroit.
Yeah, this is one of those stupid road trips when they're supposed to play Detroit and Toronto. But instead of going Detroit, Toronto, Tampa, they're going Detroit, Tampa. Frequent flyer miles. Maybe.
Silver linings.
And then they while they're in Toronto, I guess Toronto's going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of their 1992 World Championship. That's the Joe Carter Championship, where he hit the home run and he's jumping up and down on the bases.
Right. Yep. Well, that'll be exciting.
So they just celebrated the 20th anniversary of their championship. And
so they get to be a part of another celebration.
And they get to be there when the celebration for 92. And then Toronto gets to have a celebration next year as well, because they were back to back.
That's right.
92 and 93.
All right. So, player of the week. Who you got?
Taylor Ward.
All right.
He had a couple home runs, and that walk-off was good. It was good to see him kind of re-engage. He hasn't been real bad, but where he started off, he finally slowed down, cooled down, and that. But he's Jared Walsh for this year to what Jared was last year and the end of 2020.
Yeah. Well, and I looked at him also. I thought, yeah, he's a good candidate, but I always look for consistency. That's kind of been my theme with the Angels. And so I took a note from your playbook, and I went with David Fletcher.
Yeah. If I hadn't given it to David Fletcher like the last 3 weeks,
Right.
I probably would have gone there. So I was happy to see silver linings and all. In fact, I don't think we can call it the Angel segment anymore. We just call it the silver lining segment.
Which we should say, we've got another giveaway that we are going to be putting up. And it is our silver lining giveaway. And It's a really cool giveaway. So we will get that up.
Details to come.
Yes, details to come. But you'll like it. All right, we are in that time of the podcast when we take a look around baseball. Lots of stuff happening in the baseball world. We've got the Little League World Series. We've got, of course, Players of the Week, our favorite, Will Vial. A really cool story about a guy that I have been able to watch over the last couple of seasons as an isotope. So let's get started and take a look around baseball.
So now's the time of year that you're going to see players coming up as we get in August. Now, for some teams like the Angels, you're seeing minor leaguers pop up because they have no other choices with injuries and things like that. You'll start seeing the Dodgers have brought up a couple guys. We talked about Miguel Vargas the other day, James Outman. So we're going to start seeing some more of that. We're going to also see, if you watch any of the prospects, the Dodgers recently much talked about Bobby Miller, who is a fireballer who's been making his way through, is up in Oklahoma City now. He moved from AA to AAA. So he just moved from Tulsa to Oklahoma City. Not a bad move. And then Gavin Stone, another one that moved up. So you're going to start seeing a lot of moves like that as the minor leagues start that upheaval process, and you'll start seeing things getting ready for the Arizona Fall League, which will start in September. So the Angels have a kid that they got in trade, Logan O'Hoppe, big high up catcher. In fact, he became the number one prospect in the Angels system when they got him. And he is in Rocket City, Alabama. We're playing for the Trash Pandas, and like 4 home runs in 5 games, and has been just smacking the ball around and showing. I think a lot of Angels fans are going, "Oh, we won that trade," because it really didn't matter who we sent away. If we've got somebody that could come up, and the catching Stassi has been solid, but he's kind of fallen off with the bat. There's no guarantee, obviously, that Logan O'Hoppe's going to be a major leaguer, but having somebody that might be able to step in, and especially as Kurt Suzuki has his moments, but he can't catch every day. Stassi is kind of becoming like having Martin Maldonado, great defensively most of the time, but he's just not hitting. And before, he had a little bit of both going on. So if he can regain that, then Logan O'Hoppe being a backup and eventually coming up and taking over would be, another guy who is doing good when we talk about catchers. Diego Garcia for the Dodgers is somebody. He is just tearing things up, and he'll be up at AAA before you know it. Problem is, where does he go from there? Cuz just signed a 2-year extension. You got Will Smith, who is definitely, so the question, odd man out in this is probably Cuz.
Yeah, definitely.
So Logan O'Hoppe. And then I think when it comes to minor league stories, we got a cool one that you alluded to.
Yeah, so this is a guy that I have watched play with the Albuquerque Isotopes over the last couple of seasons. Witten Bernard, a lot of fun to watch, gets hits, home runs, makes really great plays. He is in his 10th season of playing in the minors. He had 6 stints in foreign leagues. And during the pandemic season, he played in the Constellation Energy League as part of an independent league resume. I'd never even heard of that.
Constellation
Energy League. Yeah. He's 31 years old, and he finally made his major league debut.
Let's to be specific, it was like 31 and 322 days or something. So he's like a month and a half.
Yes. So 31 years and 322 days old, he became the oldest player to, this one, I will let you know, he got a hit in his first major league game, and he stole a base, and he is the oldest player to do that in his major league debut since the Cardinals' Joe Delahunty on September 30th, 1907, who was 31 years and 347
It couldn't have been like in 1990.
days.
No, 1907.
1907, 31, and he was 31 years and 347 days old. So he got the call up, and I need to put this on our social media, on the Instagram, on Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A, because he talks to his mom on the phone, FaceTimes her, and she is crying. He's getting choked up. The manager for the Isotopes, Warren Schaefer, said that when he announced it in the clubhouse that Witten had been called up, he said grown men were crying. They were all crying in the clubhouse. Tears of joy for Witten because he was going to Denver. And his first hit was a little awkward because it was a grounder to third, but he beat out the throw, but he got called out. So they reviewed the play, and he was safe. And then later he stole second base, and he made a good play. And he said I never had the thought of not making it, but he just tried to focus on the positives. He's from San Diego, and he learned how to play baseball from his dad, Walter. And he went to a baseball camp in Clemson, South Carolina, where a coach there said, hey, you should go to this Niagara University. That's where I went. And so he started at Niagara University, and that coach was in the stands. And after his freshman year, his dad had a stroke, so he sat out a year, and then he went off to play summer ball, and his dad passed away. And so he was having some, almost kind of angry at baseball, but felt like he needed to continue for his dad. And so in 2012, the Padres selected him in the 35th round of the MLB draft. He never went beyond single A with the Padres. They released him in 2013. He was with the Tigers from 2014 to 2016. Got to AAA. Then he was with the Giants, 2017. Then he was with the Cubs, 2018 and 2019. Then he was with Sugarland in the Constellation Circuit, that Energy Constellation League. And he went back home to San Diego, and he was a former major leaguer, longtime coach Phil Plantier was working with him, and Connor Joe. We've heard Connor Joe's name, and Bud Black saw him. Bud Black lives in San Diego and liked what he saw, and he signed both of them. And now, of course, Connor Joe's been up at the ML, up with the Rockies for a while. And it's nice to see a great guy, Wynton Bernard.
It's perseverance right there. Not everybody can stick with it like that, but he had I'm going to do this for my dad. He had some kind of motivation. That's usually the thing. If you don't have the motivation.
So
no, that's really cool.
It is. And I'll tell you, in Albuquerque, he was batting .325, had 17 home runs, 24 doubles, 8 triples, 74 RBIs. Just a real spark plug for the Isotopes. A lot of fun to watch. So really cool for me too, to say, hey, I've seen him play. I know him, as a ball player. So I love those. I love these type of stories, especially, somebody that has just, I was like, I'm going to make it. I don't know when I'm going to make it, but I'm going to make it. And he did.
Well, dreams can come true. He's made it to the bigs. Hopefully he can stick around and have more than just what do they say, a cup of coffee with the team. Right now is the time of baseball dreams. Little League World Series, the regionals, finishing up. Everybody heading to Williamsport, both here in the U.S. and internationally. And apparently, kid came off of working on the farm, putting in some fence posts and stuff like that, playing for the Montana team, I think it was. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And came up to bat, and instead of batting gloves, he had work gloves on.
Yeah, those
hit his home run.
Work gloves.
Came up, hit a home run, and then went back to tending to the field until it was his time to come up and bat again, I guess.
That's it. Little League World Series actually started yesterday, so games have already started in Williamsport, Caribbean, Latin America, Southeast versus New England. Those games are already in the books. Today you got Asia Pacific against Europe, Africa. Let's see. All of these games are on ESPN. And I hear Todd Frazier, who was a former Little Leaguer from New Jersey, is going to be doing.
He's been doing some of the games. Here's the thing. Todd Frazier's fine when you don't have to look at him.
Right.
Because he smiles the whole time. I mean, that's cool that he's happy to be there, but it's the way that he smiles is just kind of creepy.
Yeah. So check out Little League World Series on ESPN. Today's games, you got Asia Pacific versus Europe, Africa region, Midwest region versus Great Lakes, and then Puerto Rico versus Mexico, and Southwest versus Mid-Atlantic. And it's always cool to see the kids. And, at one of them, they ask them, what do they aspire to? What would be, and one of them wanted to be a chicken nugget taste tester. That was his goal in life. So
Dream
I'd
big,
say
son.
go
Dream
for
big.
it. So yeah, lots of fun stuff in the Little League World Series. And also coming up on Sunday is the MLB Little League World Series game, and the Orioles and the Red Sox will be playing in that game. That's always fun because they get to hang out. The Little Leaguers get to hang out with the players. They get to go down the hill, the famous hill, and take a ride. And last year it was Shohei Ohtani and the Little League. That should be like a movie title. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Shohei Ohtani and the Little Leaguer?
Yeah.
That should be a new movie. That should be
a new feel good baseball movie.
Okay. Sounds good.
Like you had a Little League team and they're all down because they can't win, and they don't have the fundamentals, and Shohei shows up and he helps them become a better team.
Just appears like a genie, a baseball genie kind of thing? Or does he come and they're all like, oh my God, Shohei Ohtani. And he shows up and spends the day with them, teaching them baseball and life.
And he eventually becomes their coach also, I think would be better.
I have a couple of guys I think should be in the movie.
Okay.
That are part of our all name team. Well, we have one member of the all name team so far. I have a second member
All right.
Sky Bolt was the initial member of the team from the Oakland A's.
Yes.
Lars Nootbaar from St.
Oh,
Louis
yes. That's a great name.
is
Love it.
is number 2. He's another member of our all-name all-star team. Not necessarily the all-star name team.
Yeah.
You got an all-star name. You may not be an all-star player, but you got an all-star name. So Sky Bolt and Lars Nootbaar can show up to Shohei, and 2 other guys are here to help us with baseball.
So what I'm thinking is you got this group of kids and they're playing and, they're just practicing and, Shohei shows up and is like, oh, I just wanted to do some batting practice here, whatever, kind of just shows up at the field and then starts talking. And of course the kids are all like, it's Shohei Ohtani. And then he starts talking to him, starts showing him. He brings in Sky Bolt. He brings in Lars Nootbaar, and anybody else that we can, that gets put on our list of all-star names. And and then it just is a feel-good story of how they go on, they get better. Then when the league starts, their little league season starts, they, win some games and have a pizza party, whatever,
Something like
just
that. So,
feel
and at
good.
one point, Shohei says, you remind me of somebody, to the kid who's like, can't play that well, doesn't, and one of the players goes, does he remind you of Smalls from Sandlot? And he thinks about it and he goes, no, he reminds me of Joe Adell.
Yeah. How did I know that's where you were going?
Well, that was like fish in a barrel right there.
It really was. I have a name I think that could probably go on our all-star list just because I think it's fun to say. And he actually is one of the MLB players of the week.
All right. Well, fire away, players of the week and all-star names.
American League Player of the Week, Royals first baseman, Vinny Pasquantino. And now I just said it wrong. If he's listening, I'm saying it wrong.
Vinny P.
Yeah, Vinny P. The Italian Nightmare is what he is known.
Yeah,
that's his nickname.
And that's not necessarily because he's a great player. It's because you can't say his last name. So they just
right. Pasquantino, I believe is how you say it. I practiced and it never comes through. But he is
around the circles in the neighborhood, he's Vinny P.
Vinny P. He batted .455, 4 home runs, 6 RBIs across 6 games. He had a home run in both games of a doubleheader against the White Sox, and he had a home run and 2 RBIs in a win over the Dodgers. So he is the AL Player of the Week. And then Padres third baseman, Manny Machado, is the National League Player of the Week. He batted .429 with 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 7 runs, 12 hits. He recorded multiple hits in 5 of the 6 games he played, and he had multiple RBIs in 4 of those 5 games. He had a 3-run walk-off home run in San Diego's come-from-behind win over the Giants. And Manny, I Don't Hustle Machado, is the NL Player of the Week.
I guess he hustled just enough.
Just enough to get it.
Well, he's got to pick up the slack since Ringworm Tatis Jr. is not back. So last week we talked about Jackie Bradley Jr. getting released. Looks like he's already been picked up again.
Yeah, he is in Toronto along with some Royals, but he is in Toronto playing with the Blue Jays, signed a contract with them. Probably a good pickup for them because George Springer has been on the IL with elbow issues. So that was a good pickup.
And then probably the story of the year so far, I think, would be the Orioles. The Orioles right now have 60 wins. The Rangers, Angels, and Oakland do not have 60 wins. They would be in third place in the AL West. They're in fourth place in their division. They would be in second place between Cleveland and Minnesota. They would be in second place in the AL Central, fighting for a spot. They're just not, once they get, they would be in third place in the NL Central. They'd be in fourth place in the NL East. But it just goes to show that if you take and you get these players, that the reason why you're tanking is to get these draft picks, and then you trade your good players away to get pieces for your farm system, that it never works out if as soon as they get good, you trade them away. They did trade Jorge Lopez, and everybody's like, what are you giving up? Trey Mancini, same idea, but it hasn't hurt him so far.
Nope. We haven't seen any damage done by those trades.
So the question is, can they continue on? And I don't know, at this point, it's going to take some collapsing on another team's part, but they're putting themselves in the playoff hunt. That's for sure.
Yeah, which nobody saw. Everybody is like, yeah, it's the Orioles. Write them off.
No, you don't expect that they're going to do that. I mean, they've been a big joke in the league for a while.
And maybe it's good for them to be in that position where nobody's really paying attention to them, and they're just playing ball and bonding together as a team, and doing well.
Yep. Another firing in MLB, but first we just got news out of Oakland.
Yeah, they have released right fielder Stephen Piscotty. This is a pretty big shakeup for the A's. I mean, they've traded Matt Olson, now
Chapman,
Olson. Now they're letting Piscotty go. A lot of names that you always think of as A's.
Well, there's two guys that we thought were going to go and didn't. That was Sean Murphy. We talked about that last week. And Ramon Laureano was a really big question at the trade deadline as somebody that might go. So obviously changes in Oakland are constant. See, the one thing that they haven't done yet, and actually they hadn't planned on doing before, was firing their manager. Bob left because he got a better deal down in San Diego with a better team, obviously. But there was I don't think they had planned on firing Bob up in Oakland. So, his change, that was different. But this is something that I find interesting because there was another manager fired. And the first manager fired this season was Joe Girardi. The second manager was Joe Madden. Then we went to the third manager, Charlie Montoya. And now the fourth manager starts with a CH as well. It was Charlie, and now it's Chris Woodward.
Yeah.
The Texas Rangers. So there is a theme. You fire in twos, but there's two Joes and then two people that start with CH. So you start looking around. Dusty Baker's got nothing to worry about. Of course, he's got a good team, but you start looking at these guys. Do they have Rocco is never going to be fired if it has to be twos of the same type of name.
That's right.
Unless there's
Aaron Boone.
Like Ross.
Yeah.
Because RO.
Right. Maybe Aaron Boone is probably another one.
Bud Black.
Yeah.
Nobody's named Bud out there.
No, he's the one and only. I think there really can only be one Bud Black. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder with the Rangers letting Chris Woodward go. Their third base coach, Tony Beasley, is going to take over in the interim capacity for the rest of the season. Why don't they just do it at the end of the season? I mean, we really don't have that much longer. There aren't that many more games. We've got the rest of this month and then September. It goes by fast. Why not just leave them in there until the end of the season?
Yeah, the Rangers are 9.5 out of the wild card.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to make it, but I think that they're trying to make the changes now to try to get something going to end the season strong, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think that would be the only thing, is maybe they can end the season strong. Maybe they can start winning. I don't know. But
do you think they talked to Corey Seager about this? Because
I don't
that
think
was one of the
so.
reasons why Corey came, was because
Right,
he
well,
had
I mean,
a relationship with Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Woodward was on the Dodgers coaching staff, and so he would have. Yeah, I mean, that I don't think they did. I do not think that they talked to him at all
not that
about
they
it.
have
And
to, but they're
no, they
paying him a
don't.
lot of money over 10-year period.
Yeah. Well, and he had an extension. They signed him to an extension last November that was supposed to run through 2023. So
It makes you wonder what changed. I mean, obviously they're underperforming, but it wasn't as if they were. Well, I guess though, when you get Simeon and you get Corey, but you can't help if those guys aren't playing well. You're still going to run them out there and play them. You're paying them too much money. I guess it's the rest of it. You have Martin Perez, who's been pitching well, but I know they're underperforming, and that's why. There's a song by Matchbox 20 called "Rest Stop," and in the song, the girl's driving, and he says, and Rob Thomas sings, 3 miles from the rest stop, she put on the brakes, and she says, we're driving, and I was looking at you, and I wondered what you were dreaming about because you were sleeping. And then I realized I don't care what you're dreaming about. And if I'm going to end this, I got to end it right now or I'll lose my nerve. And I'm wondering if that was Texas and Chris Woodward. They decided we got to do it, and they just pulled over and dropped him off, even though they could have gone the 3 more miles and dropped him off at the rest stop. No, insult to injury, out on the side of the road. Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's a good explanation. I mean, the one thing is the Rangers are on pace for their best season in 3 years. They have a 51-63 record. Like you said, they're third in the AL West, but this has been their best season so far. So it's like, why not just let him, take this season. You had Seager and Simeon. They have to, get together and be more cohesive. Let him go through his extension. But I think you're right. I think they just were like, we gotta do it. We gotta rip the Band-Aid off.
Yep.
And that's it. Kick him out of the car.
Right. We were wondering what your plan was when it came to mind that we didn't care. So you're out of here, buddy.
That's
You're
it.
gone. Well,
Well, and then, another one, we're talking about managers, but there also was a general manager that was fired. The Tigers fired Al Vila, and that is effective immediately. He doesn't get to stay through the end of the season. He's gone. Like, they were 10 miles from the rest stop. Get out.
This is a guy who traded his own son like 3 different times. Hey, whatever works for the team, right?
That's it. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know with the Tigers what obviously they need a lot of turnaround. And I still think it's kind of crazy that AJ Hinch is still the manager there. But
well, and the talk is that he may even be under consideration as the general manager.
oh, ooh,
Like out of the dugout up there, but I don't know, or is he doing both? Is he going to do like one of those? I'm the head coach and the GM.
no,
That
I don't
doesn't
think.
usually work out very well.
No, I don't think so.
No,
That just seems
So,
crazy.
what I do know is that Chris Woodward and probably other coaches wish that instead of just being fired or whatever, they could just claim that they were injured and take a ride on the wheel of IL.
All right, we're going to start in Arizona with Ketel Marte. He is listed day to day with a hamstring injury. So we'll keep an eye on him and see if he stays on the wheel and spins a little longer. Max Fried is on the concussion IL, so that's like a 7-day IL. He should be back this weekend, but if everything goes right for him. Now, Chris Sale, this one, this poor guy, I mean, he fractured a rib in spring training, so he didn't start the season. And then he got back and was doing rehab, looked good. Then he broke his pinky finger, so that put him out. And now he broke his wrist. And he broke it while he was riding his bike after a workout where he was rehabbing from the broken pinky finger. And he is out for the season. And I think somebody needs to get him some calcium. Drink some milk. Stronger bones, Chris Sale.
So he was going to lunch, hits a rock. Is that the story you heard?
Yeah.
Hit a rock
he
that threw
was
him
going,
off of his bicycle.
Yeah, he was going downhill and, riding his bike downhill, and he hit a rock, fell off of his bike, and landed on his wrist and broke it.
Ouch!
I mean, and before this guy, he is just, he had Tommy John surgery, then he comes back with, but then they find he has, like I said, a fracture in his rib cage, comes back from that, then fractures his pinky finger on a comeback, gets back on the IL. And now he's just out. He's done. No riding bikes for you, Chris Sale.
No, stick to motorcycles.
Right. They're much safer.
Get to, go to the Dominican Republic and use Tatis's barber.
Right. Exactly. I just think he needs to drink more milk.
Does the body good.
That's it. So then we'll head to the South Side, and Luis Robert is day to day. That's right. He's listed day to day with a wrist injury. And then Tim Anderson. This is a loss for the White Sox. He's going to be out at least 6 weeks. He has a sagittal band tear on the middle left finger. So basically, he tore tendons in his finger. But sagittal band tear sounds a lot cooler. So he's out. And then Mike Moustakas.
And yet somehow he still shows up on base somewhere.
Yeah, so he's always there. Mike Moustakas, he was listed day to day, and now he is on the wheel with 10-day IL with a calf injury. Hunter Green is on the 15-day IL with a shoulder injury. Josh Naylor of the Guardians is listed day to day with an ankle injury, so keep an eye on him. And then the Rockies have Elias Diaz on the 10-day IL with a sprained left wrist, and Jonathan Daza with a dislocated left shoulder. So if you are a Rocky, protect your left side. Jeremy Pena is day to day with a neck sprain. Have an update on Mickey Moniak. He had his stitches taken out of his finger, so he could start swinging a bat next week. So that could be good news for the Angels because he was helping out. And then another silver lining for the Angels, Mike Trout took batting practice on Sunday.
Yeah, so that could be good.
good.
And then now, do you think that if your name is Mickey and you're playing baseball, that the expectations are probably abnormally high?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Mickey Mantle, or he could just be Mickey Mouse because he's neighbors.
Well, he could go either way. But, you know, the Angels used to have a pretty good outfielder named Mickey Rivers, who was also a Yankee back in the 70s. You know, could he do at least like that? Or is he, you know, Mike Trout has already been doing the Mickey Mantle impersonation for all these years. What about Mickey Moniak? He's got the name.
He does. He's got it. Dodgers. Did not mention this in the Dodgers segment. And really, to be honest, he hasn't been that great this season. And then he went on the IL, and you kind of, I don't know, did you kind of forget about him? Walker Buehler. He is having season-ending elbow surgery next week. So.
Oh, yeah.
But
I did forget about that.
I mean, when you heard he's having season-ending surgery, it was like, didn't he have surgery? Like, I thought he already had surgery. And they really don't know what the issue is, and they won't know until the surgeon gets in there and looks around to see what needs to be, all that needs to be repaired.
About that exploratory stuff.
Well, it's not necessarily, I think, an exploratory surgery, but they're hoping that whatever is on the x-rays that's it, that there's nothing more to it. I mean, he has had Tommy John surgery in the past. This was, you know, before he was a Dodger. So they're hoping it's nothing like that. But there is good news for the Dodgers, and that is Dustin May is off of the wheel and will be in Miami making a start. So
I heard
Code
that's
Red
for Sunday.
Code Red. I'm calling it.
All right. Well, we'll see next week. We'll talk all about that.
We'll see how excited I am, but we'll see. Turning to the Yankees, you got DJ LeMahieu, who is day to day with a toe injury. And then a guy who has been the talk of New York, Matt Carpenter. He has a broken foot. No surgery is needed, but he may be out for the rest of the season. So somebody that came up and was just, you know, hitting left and right, and they love him, but he broke his foot. So not good for the Yankees. And then heading to Philadelphia, got Kyle Schwarber, who is listed as day-to-day with a calf injury. So keep an eye on that and see if he makes a permanent spot on the will. And then Corey Knebel has a right lat strain, and he is on the 15-day IL. And last but not least, Jack Peterson. He is listed day-to-day after being hit by a pitch on the hand. X-rays have come back negative for any broken bones, but he is going to be out. And we'll watch that too to see if that hand, if it becomes more. Because sometimes they take the X-ray and it says negative, and then they go back and they look at it again and go, oh, whoops. Yeah. Do you see it? It's broken. So hopefully that's not the case for Jocelyn, but right now he's day-to-day. And that's it for the Wheel of IL. And that also does it for this week's edition of Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. You can always listen on your favorite listening platform, as you are doing now. And if you're listening, you're our favorite listener. You're the listener of the day.
Week,
always
month,
check us.
Month,
year, century, whatever. Check us out on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A, and then Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A, and on our website at Sibling Rivalry BB. A couple of links for Fanatics. There's a Dodgers link, there's an Angels link, but you can click those links, get whatever you want, get Dodger gear, Angel gear, whatever gear you want. I think there might be some Little League gear hopefully coming up, and check on that. But also the Field of Dreams gear is in there too, I believe. So
yeah,
check it
There's
out.
all of that. If you get with the NFL season and college football coming up, you can get some new gear for the upcoming season there. And then, of course, once we get the playoffs, you can get all the playoff stuff, the Dodgers championship gear. Ooh, did I just call it right there?
I don't know.
SiblingRivalryBB.com is where you will find all of that. We will be here again next week to talk about what happened when the Angels went to Detroit and what happened with the Dodgers and Dustin May, as you mentioned.
Yeah, will we be calling a code red? So we're going to put the tarp back on the field, and remember
To swing away.